Welcome to the Motorsport UK British Car Championships. I'm Jake Sanson, and we're gearing up for action in the TKM and Honda paddock at BF International. In last year's TKM Extreme season, over a dozen drivers could have won the title, but in 2019, we asked last year's vice-champion Chris Whitten what he needs to do to go one better.
Well, last year we had a bit of bad luck. We didn't quite have quite the right package. So this year it seems to be what we've been testing on and racing this weekend. It's been a lot better so far, and I think I've improved myself. My racing's a lot better, the pace is better. And yeah, we're looking really good. I think this year is going to be really competitive, so I'm going to have to be performing 100% all the time. The equipment's got to be up to scratch every time I go out on the track, and it's just going to be a really good year.
Round 2 of the 2019 championship, and boy oh boy is this going to be a tough race to win. Chris Whitten from pole position, Michael Cornell from second, Ryan Cole and James Pashley from Kai Springfield and Carl Sproat, James Ogden, Harry Moore, Lee Whittingham and Abby Pulling in the top 10. This is going to be pretty spicy as they come down the main straight to go racing. Is it going to be a clean start? It is, and we're racing at BF International once again. What a start from Chris Whitten. Cornell trying to come around the outside. He's not going to make it as the field swarms through under the Lynchfield Bridge. Clean and tidy, spotless as a whistle as they go through the round hairpin and then up into the left-hander turn 4, over the bridge, turn 5, square right and down the back straight. And Chris Whitten is threatening to disappear early. Cornell in second position. They come off the bridge, 2 or 3 of them have had a little bit of an incident at the back, but they all seem to be going in the same direction. So Whitten leads, Cornell second, Cole still third, up to 4th, James Pashley remains. Then it is Springfield and Sproat, so the top 6 remain as they were. Then it is James Ogden in front of the 9 of Whittingham, Abby Pulling, so Harry Moore's had a bit of a difficulty. Oh, and we've got a kart stopped at the first hairpin, and it looks like out of the race too. Now, that is a big problem. That looks like a Tony Kart chassis to me. So I think we're going to have at least one driver out of the race. And that, I'm afraid to say, looks to me like it could be... Well, I'm just trying to see as they come across the line who that is likely to be. Sam John's still going through. Cornell, Pashley, Springfield and Sproat as they go through. I think it is once again Austin Monday. So Austin Monday, yet again in dire straits, had a problem in the first race and ended up out of the race, and now unfortunately the same fate has befell him in the second. Meanwhile, the mechanical flag is going out this time by, and that is going to go to Sam Johns, unfortunately, the Welshman. So Sam Johns is going to have a problem. Up to the inside for third position. That's a big lunge from Pashley as he gets through on Cole. Then it is Kai Springfield, Sproat and the 93 of Ogden. And now Abby Pulling has lost the place. That is to Theo Hesketh. So Theo Hesketh has come through, but the battle is raging at the sharp end of the field as Whitten is trying to stretch away, but up to third position now as comes James Pashley onto the back of Michael Cornell. They come through the chicane and onto the main straight once more, and there's a mechanical flag and a warning flag on the Digi flag. The mechanical flag, of course, belongs to that of the 27 of Sam Johns, but the 31 has been given a warning. That's Ethan Newsham. So something he's done has got the stewards back up. So the 2 flags are shown on the digiboard over the starting gantry. But out in front, your race leader is Chris Whitten, and he's threatening to pull away with Michael Cornell about to lose the place to James Pashley. Into second place he goes. Lovely job. That's really nicely done. And in 4th place, there is the 97 of Kai Springfield. And then Ryan Cole in 5th position in front of the 7 of Carl Sproat. Then it is James Ogden. And there's a big gap back to Whittingham and Hesketh from Abby Pulling and the 15 of Harry Moore, who's not happy with Pulling. Hand in the air as they went through out of the second hairpin, so clearly Moore has got a bit of a grievance. But Chris Whitten is threatening to disappear and lead by example. He's led and won every race he started this weekend. Last year, he was the vice-champion. He wants more than anything to win the title in 2019, and he's going about it exactly the right way. Pashley is second. Cornell is third. From Springfield, Cole, Sproat, Ogden and Whittingham. Then it is Hesketh and Pulling in the top 10 from Harry Moore and Adam Sparrow, Sam Fowler, Joe Fowler, then Archie Strong and Alex Page from Matthew Harris, Dan McKeown, Max Goldsmith and Zach Bowen. And then it's Matthew Allnut in front of Lewis Wadley and Joe Reeves-Smith. Out of the braking zone, in through the hairpin. Getting a little bit neat and tidy in the midsection of the course. Back on the power comes Witten, then Pashley, Cornell and Springfield, who's up to 4th position at the expense of Ryan Cole, who's trying desperately to keep Carl Sproat at bay. Some really good battles through the field. The one driver that's ended up down at the back is Sam Johns, because he had the mechanical flag, but he's come into the pits and fixed it and gone straight back into the action. He clearly feels that with TKM Extreme having a high attrition rate, staying in the race, even if you're dead last, could get you a 25th or 26th place rather than where he currently is at 31st, especially with the likes of Monday, Rosser and Taylor not completing the first lap. Owain Rosser and Matthew Taylor, incidentally, they were both out in race 1 when they struck the barrier at the Litchfield Bridge, so neither of them could continue the weekend. Witten, Pashley, Cornell and Springfield, 1, 2, 3, 4, up the inside comes Ogden, that's for 5th place. Nice move on Ryan Cole. Then Carl Sproat is the next one to go for a challenge. They've got a few kart lengths though on Theo Hesketh, who's 8th. Then it's Whittingham, and in 10th position it is the 49 of Abby Pulling, the double British Junior Champion. Stationary yellow flag and a waved yellow flag at Bobby Gaines, so somebody has not come through, and I think unfortunately it's Dan McKeown. So Dan McKeown appears to be out of the race, his first meeting out of junior last year. And the senior campaign has not got off to a good start for Dan McKeown. He is out of the race, I'm afraid. So that's a real shame. Witten your leader by just over half a second. Pashley is taking up the initiative that Cornell did in round 1 earlier on today. Cornell challenged Witten for the win earlier. Now Pashley's going to do it on Chris Witten, who has been dominant for the entire weekend, Chris Witten. Very different to what we saw in 2018, sorry. We saw multiple drivers in every single race, but Witten is absolutely determined. This off-season has been going very well for him. He wants to dig deep, find something special, and get his A-game together. And this weekend, it's all come together. He struggled in the Winter Series, but here at Trent Valley Kart Club, he has made a lot of developmental work this weekend. And now for the first round of the British Championship, he's been absolutely perfection. A warning flag now goes the way of the 9. That's Lee Whittingham. So definitely something that the marshals were not keen on there on that last lap. But Whittingham is the man who they are going to show the black and white flag to. Down the straight, Witten is losing a teeny bit of ground to James Pashley now. And Cornell and Springfield are working together to go with them. So it could be a 4-way scrap for the victory. Witten just hanging on to the pace at the moment. He's fast in the first sector. He's not quite as quick in the second sector. That's where he's losing a little bit of time. But he does have a very strong composure through the final sector of the lap, and that's where he can gain a lot of time overall. He has set a new personal best in the first sector, though. Fastest lap of the race, just as in the round 1, is Abby Pulling. She's just not in the position to work her way back through the field, but she has the fastest lap of a 1 minute .60, and that is faster than anybody else in this race. An average speed of 51.02 miles an hour. Now Wadley and Johns are now down at the back of the grid. Don't tell me Lewis Wadley's had even more problems. He had a shocker in the first round of the championship. Found himself down at the back of the grid after contact with Max Goldsmith on the first lap of round 1. And now it looks as though he's got even more hardships to contend with in this second race of the weekend. Second championship race of the weekend, I should say. The heats, of course, while building up to these, don't actually count towards championship points. Down the back straight and up towards the hairpin. Is there going to be a move or two for third position? Because this battle for third is really intensifying now. Michael Cornell and Kai Springfield closing up on the second place man, James Pashley. The top 4 going well. Witten, Pashley, Cornell, Springfield, Cole and Sproat battling away for 5th. Then in 7th behind them is James Ogden. He's gaining ground. 8th place is now Theo Hesketh from Abby Pulling, Harry Moore and Lee Whittingham. So down the main straight is going to come Chris Witten. He still has about 0.7 of a second on Pashley, and he's actually opening up the tabs on this lap. Personal best first sector, personal best second sector. Over the line goes Chris Witten, and that's a new fastest lap. 1 minute, .58 seconds. He did a 20 dead in the final sector. Pushed his way to the front, and he's doing a grand job, Chris Whitten. He's opened up the gap to nearly a second, and if he can get beyond a second out front, that's where he can really win this race, because he can demoralise James Pashley, shake him off the scent, and effectively build away a victory. And he's doing it again. New personal best in the first sector as Carl Sproat makes the move on the inside to get into 5th position, up on the inside of Ryan Cole. But all of this is academic if that man out front continues to run. Now there's a problem again for Sam Johns. Another mechanical flag. Whatever it was they did has clearly not fixed the problem. So that's a major shock for Sam Johns. A real disappointment. He will come across the line this time. No, he won't. He's gone straight back to the pits, as in fact has Spencer Stevenson. Looks as though Spencer Stevenson is out of the race as well. And that's a real shame. Last year he was one of the best young juniors coming up, but is now a senior driver. And unfortunately for Spencer Stevenson, his race is run. Meanwhile, there are comeback drives through the field. Joe Reeves-Smith and Joe Stockford, who had a nightmare race earlier on, have now charged their way through. They are 21st and 22nd respectively. 13 places made up for Joe Reeves-Smith, and Joe Stockford making up 11, as they were 33rd and 34th on the starting grid, which is of course the back row of the grid. And that is because they were out of the race in round 1 after a bit of a moment at the start. Number 4, Joe Reeves-Smith, having a bit of a moment there as he battles away with, I think that was the O-plate of Joe Stockford and the 18 of Zach Bowen. And there's a lot of gesturing going on, a lot of hand signals that they need to be a little bit wary of, actually. They don't want to incur the wrath of the officials with bad attitude out on the circuit. They need to keep themselves calm. And there's a warning flag that's actually gone out to the 79 of Ross Deal. So he was one of the drivers battling with Joe Reeves-Smith on the last lap. So maybe that's who Joe Reeves-Smith was venting to. But even so, you can't take the rule book into your own hands. You've got to let the racers flow naturally and let the officials do the adjudicating. But another new fastest lap for Chris Whitten. He's done it again. A 1 minute .54 for Chris Whitten, as he continues to lead the race convincingly with not a care in the world the way things are currently going. He's still lapping quicker than the guys behind, and from his point of view, this is perfect. Nobody can get near him. Pashley in 2nd, Springfield and Cornell 3rd and 4th. I can't stress enough just how impressive it is for one guy in TKM Extreme to disappear out in front of the rest of the field. This is a ludicrously competitive category, TKM Extreme. So for one guy to have this level of ability, this level of dominance, this performance in this category, and this ability to stretch out the gap out front is truly spectacular. You've got to remember last year there were a dozen drivers battling for the title, and it looked as though nobody wanted to win the championship at various stages of the year. But Chris Whitten, who emerged as the vice champion, now feels, well, this year I can be better, I can do better. And so far, everybody believes him. He's just driving away from the field. So 3rd position is now effectively the closest fight on track. Springfield is there, having got past Cornell, and so too have Sproat and also the 48 of Ryan Cole. So down at the back of the queue, actually Ogden's got through as well. So down to 7th has gone Cornell from what was originally 4th place. So it's a really big headache for Michael Cornell, who of course started this race from the front row of the starting grid and now finds himself way down in 7th. But Chris Whitten continues to lead with 2 minutes 45 plus the additional lap on the clock. It's a long, long race, these races, and everybody seems to love the fact that they go on and on forever. As kart racers, all you want to do is be out on the track, battling away, racing with gusto. You want to be there as long as possible. Chris Whitten leads. James Pashley in a solid 2nd, but well clear of the pack. Then there's 5 of them fighting for 3rd position. That's Kai Springfield, Carl Sproat, Ryan Cole, James Ogden, Michael Cornell. And then up in 8th position was Abby Pulling. But now Sam Fowler and Theo Hesketh both seem to have found a way to get past her. And then the 9 of Lee Whittingham, and the reigning national champion is struggling to keep in the game as well. Adam Sparrow is past, as is Harry Moore and Matthew Harris, past Joe Fowler, the national champion from last year, who's having a terrible weekend by his standards. But here's Whitten over the line again. 1 minute and 45 seconds to go, plus the additional lap. That's 3 laps left of this race, and he's still pounding in 60.74 second laps. That's 0.2 of a second off the fastest lap of the race that he set. But he's still going quicker than the guys behind him. This is a really good race from Chris Whitten. The term dominant doesn't get used a lot in TKM Extreme, but today he truly has been fantastic. He's been absolutely sensational, to be fair to him, and he totally deserves the plaudits from this one. So he continues on his charge, and Chris Whitten just increasing the gap steadily. It's up to 2.6 seconds. Pashley on his own is really struggling. Up to third comes Kyle Sproat now. So the focus should really be on this third place battle as we continue to press away around the circuit. And there's a lovely, tasty battle going on further back as well for the drivers from 13th place downwards. In fact, there's a big battle going on for 8th place between Sam Fowler, Theo Hesketh, Abby Pulling, Lee Whittingham, Adam Sparrow, Matthew Harris and Harry Moore. They're all in the gaggle. But Chris Whitten leads going into the penultimate lap from James Pashley, 3.2 seconds back. He's still in the 62nd lap because everybody else has dropped to 61s and 62s. Chris Whitten is absolutely charging in this race. He's so good in this season. He's got such an amazing ability to just stretch away. Third position is now really where the focus should be. Pashley looks safe in second. Carl Sproat looks anything but in third place. Kai Springfield now wants to get onto the podium, and he's going to push his way through if he can. He's going to need to find a really good gap to make it happen. But he also needs to keep Sproat guessing where he's going to make the lunge. Down towards Bobby Game corner. He's going to get pressure himself from Ryan Cole, who tries to get on the inside of Springfield. Can't make that move stick. Meanwhile, out of the final turn to begin the final lap comes Chris Whitten, who is still lapping at incredible pace around this circuit. Again, a 60.6. That's within a hair's breadth of the fastest lap of the race. Chris Whitten's just absolutely sensational. Pashley second, but here's the battle for third. Sproat is hanging on to third by a thread as Ryan Cole tries to make a move on the inside of Kai Springfield. Ryan Cole trying to get through into fourth, but James Ogden and Michael Cornell are very close in behind. Side by side for third. Springfield trying to go the long way round on the outside line, and there might be a chance to lose the place if he's not careful, but Ryan Cole can't quite make it stick. Now a chance again for Springfield as side by side. Ogden goes wheel to wheel with his team, with his sister cart, I should say. Ogden and Cornell both on Viral Arts. But out of the final turns is going to come Chris Whitten. It's absolutely masterclass. He's just run away and dominated this weekend. It's a brilliant victory. Chris Whitten takes the flag and a perfect score in this 2019 season opener. 130 big ones for Chris Whitten as he takes a perfect lead of the championship. James Pashley a fantastic second. Kyle Sproat is third ahead of Kai Springfield from Ryan Cole and James Ogden. Michael Cornell in seventh. And then it's Sam Fowler, Theo Hesketh and Adam Sparrow in the top 10 from Lee Whittingham and Matthew Harris. Abby Pulling does well on her senior debut in 13th from Harry Moore and Alex Page. Joe Fowler in 16th place, a miserable day for him. Ross Deal and Max Goldsmith from Joe Stockford fighting his way back to 19th. Archie Strong completing the top 20. Joe Reeves-Smith finishes up in 21st, 13 places gained. Christian Riley's 22nd from Zach Bowen and Aaron Lask. Then Matthew Allnut, Adam Jones and Ethan Newsham. Lewis Wadley will sadly come home in 28th after problems. And then retirements for Sam Johns, Spencer Stevenson, Dan McKeown, Owain Rosser, Matthew Taylor and Austin Monday. None of those last three even started the race and finished the first lap.
So, a flawless weekend sees Chris Whitten in a completely different league. James Pashley and Kyle Sproat join him on the podium, but the whole field will have to work hard to catch Whitten this season.
Just got to say a big thank you to Lichfield Motorsport. I mean, we didn't have the best of qualifying, but we've been quick all weekend since, making our way through. Big thank you to Stephen Letts, obviously, for mechanicking, and Jono within Lichfield Motorsport for his help, and a big well done to Chris and James.
Basically, just trying to keep my position at the start, and then worked my way through, got a gap, tried to stay consistent to the end. I'm normally quite strong at Shenny and Rizzy, so yeah, quite confident.
It's been really good. We didn't really expect to be as quick as we was, especially like to get away in the races and sort of not have to fight with anyone at the end. It's been really good. It's a good track, Rissington. I was quick there last year. Had a bit of bad luck there, so hopefully we'll be alright this year.